U.S. government policy on COVID 19, the gift that just keeps on giving, has now reached a new phase. A school, Glenfield Central Junior High, has now become one of the first schools to open during COVID and then immediately have to close several hours later on the same day. That's right. Don't worry, it's safe to go to school. Oh shit, now we have to lock it down. Why? Because of the simple and perfectly predictable problem that would arise. What if a student who has COVID goes to school? Well, that's exactly what happened, and apparently they didn't even actually have a plan for it. Just hours into the first day of classes on Thursday, a call from the county health department notified Greenfield Central Junior High School in Indiana that a student who had walked the halls and sat in various classrooms had tested positive for the coronavirus. Now, what is the procedure when this happens? Well, you track the person, you see who they came into contact with, what places they might have been, like a whole school. And they ordered everyone who came into close contact with the person, including other students, to quarantine for 14 days. So you're right back at school, ready to do the... Oh, let's face it, kids don't like school anyway, and I really don't blame them. You're now off for another 14 days again. So depending on your view, this may actually be a good thing if you particularly don't like school. But you see the point I'm getting at. You know, you really should have seen this coming. I mean, that's one of the reasons why many people, including teachers unions, say don't reopen the schools. We're not ready for that yet, kind of thing. Now, many schools have been discussing opening even on a part-time basis, and many of those have reversed course in the last couple weeks as infections have spiked in so many states because people are refusing to take simple, reasonable precautions against them. I mean, I got to expand this into how bad the U.S. has been for COVID-19, and it's a stunning level of ignorance, not just from the U.S. government, but many people as well. I mean, I can't even... normally this would be a thing you would expect out of the South. You know, you would expect it outside of some of the worst areas like Arizona and Florida, but it's all over. I mean, the cases are worse in the South, but I mean the kind of ignorance around it is really all over because one way that you step towards a totalitarian government is by having to wear a face mask to not get yourself or other people sick. I mean, that's exactly what fascists have always done through history, right? Make you wear a mask, or in the case of the U.S., simply ask you to wear a mask, and that's totalitarianism. You know, whatever. More than 80% of residents of California live in counties where the test positivity rates and hospitalizations are too high for school. That's just one example of how bad it is out there. And this is the supposedly lefty, liberal, coast elitist, you know, always wanting to push in totalitarianism kind of state. I mean, that's the stereotype that we get from a lot of Middle Americans and Southern Americans in general. So what does all of this really mean? They don't care about you. The government doesn't care about you. Apparently your fellow man doesn't even care about you. They have absolutely no compassion for people whatsoever, people who could potentially die from this. They keep dying from this. The perfect example of Herman Cain. Oh, the COVID is a Democrat conspiracy to take over the world or something like that, or is inflating this worse than it is simply to get at Trump because Trump's the biggest victim that's ever walked the face of the planet. And then he dies of COVID. I mean, how many times have we seen this happen? How many times have we had these, evangelical or Baptist pastors say this is all nonsense and then end up getting killed because of the virus? I mean, it's clearly they don't care about you. The government doesn't care about you, and your fellow man in America doesn't even care about you. I mean, what does that say about American society? You would think that at least the people most vulnerable would be not most vulnerable, people lowest on the economic ladder would show, some kind of compassion. And you will see that compassion in some places, especially among the lumpen communities. I mean, like the really low lumpen communities, and even a lot of the lumpen black communities. You will see that kind of solidarity where they will wear a mask for the sake of other people, if not just for themselves. So that kind of basic human compassion does exist in some American people, and good on them for pushing forward and taking a reasonable safety precaution as not to spread a disease across the country, even though it already has. And I love that expression, more people die of the flu. That may not even actually be the case, but let's say it is. You realize what's the count now? 156,000 people in America that have died. You realize that's like 156,000 people that didn't have to die. I mean, you get that, right? I mean, there was no need for them to actually die. You could have just worn a mask. Your government could have just taken sensible measures to prevent this. These deaths were unnecessary. I mean, I don't know if they can't get that through their head. It's shocking. I'm sorry. For me, as an outsider, as a Canadian looking into the United States, you're insane. You're insane. Of course, wearing the mask is an inconvenience. I find it a huge inconvenience. But I don't go around whining like a little asshole every time I have to wear one. I don't like wearing it. It is hard for me to breathe, and I will admit, in full disclosure, that is because of my weight. That is because of the fact that I'm out of shape. I know that, but I know that's my own fault. I'm not blaming anybody else or saying that I should be entitled to not have to wear it. But I mean, we all hate wearing the mask. Nobody likes wearing the mask. Nobody thinks that wearing a mask is going to fundamentally change the world. It's just going to help not get people killed. But I love that rationale. Oh, the flu kills more people. I want to start I mean, we've all seen that meme. They show the image of 9/11 and then they say, well, the flu kills more people, kind of thing. I mean, you can apply this logic to just about anything. And, oh man, I don't even, how do you even, there's something wrong with America right from the top all the way to the bottom. I mean, there's something really wrong, and as the country that's right next to you and most likely to catch the COVID because of you, because we're right next door, you got to get your shit together, man. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.